You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio. We are a network of shows with a lineup that's sure to raise your vibrations and guide you into your best life. Tune in on Sundays to Everyday Psychic Radio. On Mondays, it's the Alchemy Sisters. Tuesdays, it's Radical Spirituality. On Wednesdays, it's All for One is Love. And on Fridays, take a listen to Rain Radio. Amazing shows produced just for you 5 days a week, only on Blog Talk Radio. This is a Heart Over Ego Radio production.
Good morning and welcome to Rain Radio, where we have juicy conversations that lead to powerful transformations. We are your hosts. I'm Naomi Calderon.
And I'm Lila Sage, and today we are talking about inflexibility and attachment to the outcome, continuing on last week's conversation. So grab your drink and your journal, put on your crown, and let's chat. Is it mobile office day for you again?
It is not. It is home office day.
Yay!
Which is great because it's raining, so I get to stay inside.
I'm jealous.
Yes. Snug as
What are you drinking?
Some tea, and I'm switching over to some water because I'm feeling the need. What are you drinking? What's in your cup?
Black tea, because, black tea. I'm sure there's water around here somewhere.
Black Tea Wednesday? Black Tea? National Black Tea Day? Or just because?
Is there a National Black Tea Day?
Oh, I'm sure there is. There's a national something or other every single freaking day, right? So probably so.
No, I'm just always in the mood for black tea. It's kind of like water in my home. Drink it regularly.
I've zipped my lips.
No, I want to hear it. Tell me everything.
Well, this makes me laugh. I know that you mean that it just means you drink it frequently, like a lot of people drink water. But what I hear is, oh, yeah, it's just like water. And I have so many people tell me, whatever they're drinking, oh, it doesn't really matter as long as it's liquid. I had somebody tell me that one day. Right?
No.
I just looked at them. I'm like, so that fifth of whiskey, same thing as drinking a fifth of water, huh? Yeah.
So no, I only look at it as this is just like drinking water. If I've squeezed some lemon into some water or threw some blueberries into some water or orange slices, like that I look at as just like drinking water. But, or, threw some herbs in there, just like drinking water. But no, tea has caffeine. And so, no. But I drink it with the consistency that I drink water. It's not like a fancy beverage for me. It's like, I guess it's like most people's soda or whatever, but there's no sugar in it. That's just plain unsweetened black tea.
Blech.
Working at Tivana did this to me. They ruined me. Talk about inflexibility.
Oh,
the only sugar I want in my tea is beetroot sugar.
Interesting. So yeah, inflexibility and flexibility. So
yeah,
beetroot sugar only. So
yeah,
I know you've in the past considered yourself exactly. I was gonna say you've called yourself a tea snob. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of an interesting perspective. So are you a snob or are you just discerning and committed and confident in what you want?
See, now I have to consult Google about what it means to be a snob.
Well, my guess is part of that comes to, do you look down on people who put the other sugars in there too?
Okay. So Google says a person with an exaggerated respect for high social position or wealth who seeks to associate with social superiors and dislikes people or activities regarded as lower class. Okay, so not exactly. I have snob-like behavior when it comes to my consuming tea.
Perfect.
You are welcome to put cane sugar in your tea if you would like. My children do it all the time. I do not judge them harshly for it. I might judge them mildly.
But not harshly.
No, I am a fan of choice. You do you. So if you want cane sugar in your tea, by all means. It just does not work for my taste buds anymore because Tivana ruined me for cane sugar in beverages. Can't do it in coffee either.
I don't know if that's actually ruining someone or, maybe that's actually helping them out. I don't know. Could be a good thing. Could be a bad thing.
It definitely gets less sugar into my system.
See?
Oh.
And that's, in my opinion, typically a good thing for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
So some things like that, it doesn't matter that we're flexible or not flexible, right?
Right.
No, I don't want cane sugar. So you either then drink it black or you get the kind that you like. You find the beetroot sugar. Or you just drink it straight. Or you don't drink it and you drink something else, right?
Yeah.
So in that instance, it's less, I see it as less about inflexibility and just being, no, this is what I want. And if I can't have that, I'm not going to have anything. Not from an I'm pouting standpoint, but just, no, I'm good. No thanks.
This is my preference and my choice.
Yeah. But where does the flexibility and inflexibility, what draws that line between now this is just my choice and now you're just being inflexible?
That's a really good question. And my brain wants to relate it to tea. My brain's like, well, I mean, I guess if I refuse to drink tea at all, then I'm being inflexible. I don't know. But so when I look at life and flexibility versus inflexibility, I look at inflexibility being it only can be this way. And there you can get the same thing. So I can have Chinese food and I can have it delivered. I can have it delivered via DoorDash. I can have the Chinese place deliver it. I can have my enjoyable other pick it up on their way home. I've got options. And as long as I get my Chinese food, I really don't care what path I take to get there, as long as no harm comes to anyone in the process. Then I think that it's flexibility. I think I'm being inflexible when I demand that my enjoyable other get off work no later than 4:45 p.m. so that he can brave rush hour traffic and get to the Chinese restaurant and pick up the food and have it here and on their little plate on the table ready for me to walk through the door at 6 o'clock to have dinner. That's inflexibility. Also a little ridiculous.
Well, I was thinking that sounded pretty good.
The only way I want my Chinese food, okay? DoorDash is not good enough. The people that the Chinese restaurant hired to bring it over are not good enough. It has to be this way and this way only.
So stubborn.
I think it's like stubborn to an extreme because I am stubborn, but I am also very flexible.
So how do you see them as different?
I think probably inflexible is stubborn to an extreme.
Okay.
Because, okay, so I'm stubborn, and I'm trying to think of what I'm stubborn in, because I know I'm stubborn, but right now I'm just like, where are my stubborn moments? I got really stubborn about our move. I reached a point where I was unwilling to move outside of our middle school district. And, but I was flexible about the rest of the process. Like, I did reach a moment where I was like, I'm doing nothing. Like, crossed my arms and was like, no. If you want this, you're going to have to do everything.
So now I'm curious then, what's the difference between being stubborn and just having deal breakers? Because there are things, to me, not moving out of your school district as a mom and as a single mom, to me that's just, okay, this is the district I want my kids to go to school in, and living outside of that is just a deal breaker when I'm looking at places.
I think that in that particular instance, it became stubbornness because I was willing to move outside of the district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the conversation started with the entire metropolitan area is up for grabs. Where do you want to live? Well, what can we afford? What am I looking for? And then I reached a point where I was like, I ain't doing nothing.
I'm annoyed with this process, and you know what? Now I have shrunk my boundary area.
Yeah, I'm annoyed with this process. I'm going to cross my arms and put one foot firmly on the ground. It won't move.
So some of what I hear is stubborn has maybe an energy or an intention behind it of, well, the word that wants to come up, but it's because of the picture that is in my head, of pouting, of not getting our way, of needing to be right, or being mad about something. Whereas does flexibility have a different, or inflexibility have a different energy for you?
I don't know that there's, I was going to say, for me, inflexibility is not as much, I don't know if there's not as much energy or the energy is different. I think for me, I don't know, because I'm like, in that instance, stubborn came as a result of exhaustion. Like, I'm just tired, and so no. We have been doing this for 18 months. I quit. But inflexibility is, for me, when I'm being inflexible, and I think there have been times where I've been inflexible, it's not the same energy. It's almost as if it's a pre-made decision and this is just what it is. And I don't think it's a deal breaker. I don't think it's a deal breaker type experience, because I think with deal breakers, there are values involved.
Yes.
And inflexibility is just no. Oh, here's something that's coming to mind, really amusing. A lot of times people fight for their limitations. And I think that's where I find inflexibility a lot. I am not willing to look at any outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to entertain any other thought or idea. This is what it is, point blank, period. I can't be wrong. It's not even like I have to be right, which has some like fight to it, which is what the stubbornness is. But it's like there are no other options. This just is. Like, you will be here at 5:50 p.m. with the Chinese food freshly from the restaurant on its platters, because that's just how it's going to be.
Interesting. So, something you said people fight for their limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know what you mean.
Okay. I'll just tell you the story that's in my head, and I'll hope it matches the answer to the question. I'm on the phone with a friend, and it filters into my awareness that she is probably experiencing depression.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no. No, insert all of the other reasons that she can be experiencing what she's experiencing that is not depression, and I'm absolutely certain that I'm not depressed. And I said, okay. And I could, I was very clear that I could be wrong about this. Like, intuitive hits are not always 1,000%. So, but then she texted me like 15 minutes later and was like, you're right, I think I'm depressed. But in the conversation that I had with her while I was on the phone, there was no room in her system for the possibility that she could be depressed. She was just like, no. I think that's inflexibility. And in fighting for the limitation, instead of being open to the possibility that something else could be going on, or that there's some other awareness, or there's some other reason, she's very fixated on her thought pattern, which didn't leave room for growth or healing or opportunity of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a thought pattern of this is what it is, point blank period, then there's no room for growth. And that is what I mean when I say fighting for your limitation.
Perfect. Well, and I think that's the crux of the flexibility issue, is when you see no other possibility, or you're unwilling to look at any other possibility, whether it's because you feel the need to be right, or you simply cannot handle being wrong, because they're subtly different, but both tend to lend themselves very well to inflexibility. And
I think you nailed it.
What does inflexibility, for those listening, what does inflexibility, if you look at your own life, where are those areas? And we all have them. We all do. Even people who seem like they're the most go with the flow, easygoing, or the people pleasers, or it doesn't matter. We all have areas that we're at the very least a tiny bit inflexible. And in those areas, if we can look at that, so there's an NLP, for those of you who aren't familiar with NLP, it's neuro-linguistic programming. There is a tenet, if you will, that we kind of live by. It is the law of requisite variety. And it's that the most flexible person in a system controls the situation. So the most flexible person in a situation or a conversation or a relationship, whichever way you want to put it, controls that situation or conversation or relationship. Now, at first when I heard that, I was like, oh, hell no, because that means I'm going to have to give in to what the other person always wants. That's flexibility. No. Flexibility does not mean doing what everyone else wants. That's being a doormat. That's not speaking up for yourself. And there's no sovereignty in that. But the flexibility comes from not having to be right.
Oh my gosh, there's so much power in that. Go on.
Right? And
I have examples, but go on.
Right? And it doesn't, I'm picturing in conversation specifically, because if two people are both being really inflexible, there's no movement, because if you're both pushing, it's a physics thing, if we're both pushing against each other, there's no movement one way or the other unless one side is stronger than the other. And assuming in a conversation that both are equal, there's a stalemate.
Yeah.
And so it's about being flexible, and it doesn't mean giving in to what the other person wants, but how flexible can you be in that conversation? What other perspectives and possibilities could you bring in to shift that stalemate? Or are you so fixed in your own perspective in pushing back in that conversation that you're inflexible, that then there's no movement? But as soon as you become flexible and are willing to entertain another possibility, you begin to control, in a way, that situation. I don't mean, manipulate. It's just you're not stuck.
Yeah.
And when you're not stuck, you have choice. And when you have choice, you have power. Not over the other person, but over yourself and for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Choice is a powerful thing. What's that?
I said yes, all the yes. This is the Hallelujah Choir. I'm just here for the sermon. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
My half-side loves to teach on flexibility, and I will tell you, and this, I'm a Leo. I am fire sign, earth sign, fire sign. It's like, for anybody who follows astrology, it's like all fire, mostly Leo. Yay. But a little bit of Taurus in there, so a little bullheadedness, and it can be really easy for me to get very stuck in, this is the way something needs to be done. And when I'm much better about it now, people, much better. And I notice when I'm being inflexible a little more easily now. But when I first met my half side, and he teaches on flexibility and curiosity and gratitude. And gratitude was the one I thought I understood. But the curiosity just always pissed me off, and flexibility, well, F that. It was like my least favorite F word. Because I wanted shit my way. And to me, flexibility meant not getting my way. But that's not what flexibility means. Flexibility often means seeing things from another perspective, being willing, or as Lisa and I joke about, the Leo's prayer, being willing to be willing to be willing, to look at things from a different perspective. And Lila, you're masterful at this. For those of you listening, if you've not ever had a conversation with her, it's a beautiful thing, because when you state something, a belief, sometimes her response is, that's an interesting perspective. And it just changes sometimes how you look at something or how you see what comes out of your mouth. That feels pretty fixed. And whenever you bring that up to to me when we're talking, it's like, oh, right, this is just a perspective. And there's maybe 999 million other perspectives that I could take if I chose to. That's flexibility to me.
Absolutely. Very well put. So how did you develop your flexibility muscle?
Oh my gosh, running into walls, getting bruises on my head, falling on my ass, being reminded and, glaring at the reminder. Is that a reminder? Well, whatever. The person reminding me gently, kindly would get the side eye or the eye roll or the glare, the evil eye. Sometimes going through NLP was a big help for me, honestly, as was just with who I'm with and the conversations that he and I have when we talk. Sometimes it's, oh, how was your day? And then I unload my basket because that's my nature, is to just empty it all out. But then we get into these deep discussions about things and about things like flexibility and where we're stuck and what things we're holding so tightly to and attached to and can't see another way. So some of it was that, and just beginning to recognize where that was happening, using some of the tools, like the access consciousness tools that you bring to the table are fantastic. Some of the NLP tools, some of the questioning from NLP, things like, what about this is about me? And that's usually what I get to look at if I'm either really triggered by something or I'm feeling really inflexible. Because for me, when I'm inflexible about something, often it's because it's either a belief I have about something, it's a desire I have for something, and or I've set a boundary that I maybe don't feel super strong in. And so I get inflexible because I'm afraid. This is in the past. I don't do this so much now. Now inflexibility shows up differently for me, and I can always get back to that. But when I was at a point where I wasn't confident in setting a boundary and holding it, it often would show up as inflexibility and or anger. And I don't know that we need to be flexible in our boundaries. Maybe, but there are some, probably not.
Right. Yeah, I'm still mastering boundaries, so I don't know about flexibility. And I'm still like at the 2-year-old stage of boundary setting, where no means my fists are balled up and I'm shouting at you.
Right. Well, and again, some boundaries we do want to have those balled up fists, because I can tell you I don't share well. So if my half side was like, oh yeah, I went to the bar. Okay, first of all, that's not going to happen. But I went to the bar and
story, people.
Yeah, right. And oh yeah, I hooked up with this chick. I don't share well. That's a boundary that I'm not going to be flexible in. So yeah, there are some boundaries that we're not flexible in. And then there are other things, especially when we're in relationship, and that doesn't mean if it's romantic, if it's friendship, or if it's work relationship. Sometimes we're like, no, this is my boundary. This is it. And then sometimes we get to be flexible, and we call that compromise, because maybe their boundary is different than ours. Their need is different than our need, and the need is what set that boundary. And then we get to have a conversation, and we get to decide, am I willing to move my boundary or not? Not because I'm caving, but because I see the benefit of us stopping the stalemate, because I see the benefit of shifting my boundary to work together, to come together, whatever that is. But there are some boundaries that, once you draw that line in the sand, keep that permanent. That's awesome. Determine where you want to be flexible. And remember, flexibility doesn't mean, quote, giving in. Big difference in energy, right?
Yes. I am taking notes for future conversations because I'm like, compromise and boundaries and flexibility.
Oh my.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Well, and flexibility is a beautiful one. It's, oh God, don't tell him I used those two words in the same sentence, please.
Okay. I won't.
Right? But it can be a beautiful dance when we're willing to move from being inflexible into flexibility. It just opens the door to possibility. And it doesn't mean that you have to then agree to whatever it is that you're being flexible about. And if you are, it may also bring in more of what you want or something you never even imagined that's just super juicy. Flexibility. It can be an okay F word.
That's hilarious. I love it. I think this conversation might be turning into a 3-part conversation.
Yeah, because I'm not sure we even hit flexibility based on our last conversation. So we kind of took flexibility another way. So yes, it may become a 3 or a 4 or 5-part series. Yes.
And also, we still have not talked about attachment to the outcome, which is another part of this conversation.
Very much so, because that's typically when we're inflexible. It's because of the attachment. I experience anyhow.
I don't know anything about that at all.
No? Okay. I'll educate you all on it because I'm really good at that.
That is sarcasm, people.
Oh.
I was just thinking if I had anything to add to the flexibility piece, other than tools, like, what about this is about me?
Or, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Is there another perspective?
Exactly.
Being in curiosity about it for yourself. Asking yourself, okay, am I feeling really fixed right now? Or am I feeling a little bit of flexibility? And just tune into your body. How does your body feel when you think about whatever this thing is, or this conversation, or this belief or stance? Do you feel rigid?
Yeah, my body tells me when I'm being inflexible. And all of my muscles are tight and my breathing is super shallow.
Yeah. Flexibility. So it's a great place to look in your life. Where do I tend to be inflexible or flexible? Where are there specific people with whom you find you tend to be inflexible? And is there anything you want to do differently? Because that's all about choice.
That feels like a fun place to pause.
I think so.
Let us know in the comments your whole points of view about flexibility. Are you an inflexible person? Are you a recovering inflexible person?
Is it your least favorite F word?
I am particularly curious about the areas of life where you are the most inflexible. I'm just wondering how much diversity there is there. So tell us so that we can talk more about it in future episodes. And we will be talking with you all next time about attachment to the outcome, I think. Or maybe we won't have any attachment to that and we'll switch it up. We'll find out next time.
Sounds perfect.
Bye, everybody.